Hey guys, welcome to Hook with Anime. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Tournament of Destroyers has another surprise. Despite all bets against him, somehow Monaka had, seemingly without any real fighting, defeated the mighty Hit in the final round, winning the Tournament of Destroyers for Universe 7. The tournament was a petty grudge match between Universe 7 God of Destruction Beerus and Universe 6 God of Destruction Champa, who happened to be twin brothers. "You did a half-ass decent job, team," Beerus said, a bored and lazy tone towards his assembled team, while Goku looked worried at Team Universe 6, who had an annoyed Destroyer yelling at them. "Hey Beerus-sama, what will happen to Hit and the others? Champa-sama seems pretty mad," Goku asked nervously, as Vegeta also looked a bit concerned. "Who cares? You should take your win and forget what happens to other universes," Beerus replied in an uncaring tone, as Champa's voice could be heard now. "You weaklings. You have cost me my Super Dragon Balls, which I scoured the universes to find. Now prepare to be destroyed. Time skip, Super Saiyan, it doesn't matter," Champa yelled angrily as he raised his hand towards his terrified team. Goku was about to rush in to try to save his new friends, but Beerus' words made him stop. "Go ahead Goku, try and save them. All you need to do is beat a destroyer, no problem, right?" Beerus told him in a mocking voice, as Goku stopped, knowing it would be impossible for him right now to defeat a god of destruction. Goku's various Earthling friends and family, including Krillin, Bulma, Chi-Chi, Goten, Trunks, Roshi, Yako and Oolong, were completely silent, not wishing for Beerus to get mad at them. Piccolo knew this was a fight they could not win, sent a stare to Goku, who frowned but stood still as Champa prepared Hakai energy in his hand. Angels, Whis and Vados saw back on the tournament stage 4 beings standing patiently, making their eyes widened. Vados turned to Champa and said urgently, "Champa-sama, there is something we need to discuss." Champa glared at his angel, Attendant, and yelled, "Vados, can't you see I am busy right now? Beerus-sama, you need to look down there," Whis meanwhile said to Beerus, who was stretching his limbs in boredom. "Whis, be quiet. I am about to see some destroying," Beerus replied in annoyance. "I must insist, my lord," Whis and Vados said with a louder pitch, finally getting their destroyer's attention. "What?" Beerus and Champa said at the same time. In response, the angels pointed to the arena, where one small figure in particular caught their attentions. "Zeno-sama?" Beerus and Champa shouted as they instantly turned white in terror. "My lords, are you sure you want to keep the Omni-King waiting?" Vados asked with some amusement, as Beerus and Champa woke up and gestured to the Supreme Kais to come down. From the 7th universe, the Supreme Kais Shin and Elder Kai along with Kibito flew down from the stands to join Champa and Beerus on the arena. From the 6th universe, Fua the Supreme Kai also flew and got on the floor. Whis and Vados, being angels, bowed at the hip, while destroyer gods Champa and Beerus got on their knees and Supreme Kais were on their hands and knees, showing the relative pecking order for deities. "Zeno-sama. Grand Minister, such an honor to see you both on such a wonderful day," Beerus said in a shockingly polite tone of voice while still on his knees. "An2. Hi," Zeno said with a wave. Zeno was an extremely short being with an odd oval-shaped head. His skin was blue, but the edges of his head were purple. "Hello to you too, Destroyer Beerus and Champa," Grand Minister said with a polite voice and smile, which if anything made Champa and Beerus even more nervous. The Grand Minister looked similar to the angels Whis and Vados, with blue skin and a halo coming from his head. "Whis and Vados, it is nice to see you as well," the Grand Minister added, as both angels nodded their head in respect to their father, Superior. "May I ask why the Grand Minister and Zeno-sama have come here today? It is a rare treat for us to see you outside your palace," Vados asked with a smile as Zeno looked around. It looks like you had a tournament here," Zeno remarked as Champa and Beerus started sweating. "Must I remind you it is forbidden to two destroyers to fight each other without Zeno-sama express permission?" the Grand Minister asked with a frown. Whis decided to speak and possibly save his god's existence, of course. This tournament was between mortals from Universe 6 and 7. Whis explained as Zeno started to look excited. "Explain," Zeno demanded with excited eyes. "Of course, my lord," Whis replied as he started to explain the details of the tournament and the prize, the Super Dragon Balls. After the explanation, Zeno looked excited and said, "Sounds fun. I was here to see if the gods of destruction were doing their jobs, but instead, I get to hear about a cool tournament." Before Champa and Beerus could sigh a breath of relief, however, the Grand Minister decided to ask, "Whis, Vados, are your destroyers doing their jobs correctly?" Vados took a tissue from somewhere and said in a dramatic and sad tone of voice, "I wish my lord, Champa-sama, is more concerned with eating and getting fat than destroying. He even ignores my advice from a diet that could help him." Vados completed this with some fake sniffles. "Damn it, Vados," Champa swore to himself with sweat coming down his back. "Beerus-sama has been sleeping more than destroying, my lords. He rarely wakes up enough to destroy properly," Whis claimed as he sighed for dramatic effects. "Damn it, Whis," Beerus thought, fearing for his existence. Maybe I should get new gods," Zeno said thoughtfully as Champa and Beerus prepared to beg for their positions and likely lives. "Just kidding," Zeno exclaimed with a smile as the destroyers looked ready to pass out from joy. "Very well put, Zeno-sama," the Grand Minister said with a clap as Zeno's guards also clapped as everyone let a small sigh of relief. "I don't quite know what is going on, but sounds like it is fun," Goku said cheerfully as everyone from the bleachers flew towards or was carried onto the floor. If Beerus and Champa were not on their knees, they would have glared and threatened Goku and his friends for being so informal in the presence of the king of everything. Zeno's guards went in front of Zeno protectively until Zeno himself waved them off, was a curious tilt of his head. "Who is this?" the Grand Minister asked with a raised eyebrow as Whis coughed to get everyone attention. "Forgive them, my lord. They are not aware of the deities above the gods of destruction. These are the warriors that fought in the tournament from Universe 6 and 7. Whis said as he introduced each person briefly to Zeno and the Grand Minister, as the Supreme Kais wanted more than anything to get them to bow but would not get up out of fear for being disrespectful. Goku looked around confused, seeing all the gods still bowing so deep, so he decided to ask, "Whis-san, Beerus-sama, who are these guys?" as the Grand Minister raised an eyebrow at Goku's informal attitude. "Forgive him, Grand Minister. He doesn't know any better," Shin pleased as the Grand Minister waved him off. "It is quite all right. Goku-san, this is the Zeno-sama, the king of everything. He ranks above every deity in existence and I am his right-hand man. You may call me the Grand Minister or Grand Priest," the Grand Minister explained as everyone but Goku quickly realized that they were in the presence of the most important beings in the multiverse. They quickly got on their knees. "Kakarot. Get on your knees now. He is Beerus-sama, boss. Vegeta hissed as Goku eyes widened before he hastily got on his knees. "Wow, you were the guys who turned blue and you like stopped time," Zeno said excitedly, pointing at Goku, Vegeta and Hit respectively. Goku had a grin on his face while Vegeta and Hit had stoic expressions. "My lord, may I suggest we talk about the Super Dragon Balls?" the Grand Priest asked politely.
Zeno frowned but then said, "Fine. Thank you, my lord," the Grand Priest said with a bow. "According to the rules set up, the Super Dragon Balls will go to Universe 7 for winning the Tournament of Destroyers," the Grand Priest announced. Champa hissed and Beerus smirked. "Now before we allow you to use the wish, may I ask what Beerus-san of Universe 7 wish will be?" the Grand Priest asked patiently as Beerus stuttered.
Before Beerus could say another word, a voice behind everyone asked loudly, "Might I pitch in?" Instantly the Grand Priest, Whis and Vados were in front of Zeno protectively as the Grand Priest asks, "Who goes there?"
"Me, of course," the voice answered as everyone saw what appeared a swirl in the air as a man slowly appeared out of it. It was a tall blonde-haired man with whiskers wearing a fancy jacket that said, 7th, on his back. He briefly had red eyes with ripples on 3 layers and tomos on each layer before they turned into sky blue eyes. His spiky blonde hair instantly drew attention as he gave a warm smile. Picture Hokage Naruto with longer spiky hair. Who is this man? I cannot sense any ki coming from him at all. It is almost like he is Zeno-sama or that Grand Priest. Vegeta thought furiously as he could sense to an extent how far above Beerus and Whis were above him, but he could not sense at all the newcomer ki at all. Seeing the confused and even hostile looks sent his way, the blonde frowned as he whined, "Geez, I can't believe nobody recognizes me." Then before everyone's eyes, He disappeared only for everyone to hear several thunderous blows as they turned around to see the blonde holding Whis and Vados' staffs in his hands with a smile. Around the three of them were massive dents in the floor as if it was carved out by punches.
Nice to see you two have kept your strength up. The blonde said, a proud smile as Vados and Whis' eyes widened. Oni-san. These movements and presence, Whis said with hope in his voice. It could only be. Vados whispered at the point of tears. Meanwhile Goku asked Hit in amazement, I couldn't see their movements at all. Did he stop time like you do, Hit?
No, with my time skip I have been able to sense distortions in time itself when I am near, and yet there was none. He was there and suddenly not. Hit explained with his eyes widened in shock. I don't think any of us saw him move, and judging by their shocked expressions not even Champa-sama or Beerus-sama did either. Kaba from Universe 6 noted as both Beerus and Champa had their jaws wide open. Before any more speculation could occur, a loud voice from Zeno broke the ice. Naruto. You are back! Zeno exclaimed in pure happiness as he leapt forward. Naruto let go of the angel's staffs and opened his arms, putting the excited Omni-King on his shoulder as he replied, Sure, Zeno. Have you had fun since I was gone? Naruto asked kindly as Zeno pouted. No. It has been so boring. Zeno whined as Naruto chuckled. Well, I will try to make up for lost time. Naruto promised as Zeno laughed as everyone besides the angel's jaws dropped at the blonde familiar attitude towards the king of everything. Who does this mortal think he is? This is the Omni-King himself. Champa grumbled, unable to believe anyone could show such disrespect to the god above all gods. Sheesh, today is full of surprises. First, we find out there are gods above destroyers, and now this blonde who looks no older than Goku or Vegeta is treating the king of gods like a friend. I need a nap after all his is done. Roshi summarized as his friends chuckled nervously. Thank you for taking care of Zeno for me while I was gone, Grand Priest, Naruto said in amusement and gratefulness as the Grand Priest chuckled. Only Naruto, Zeno and the other angels knew his true name, which not even destroyers or supreme Kais were privy to that information. Naruto swung Zeno around as everyone was on the brink of a nervous breakthrough. Of course. It is my job after all. The Grand Priest said matter-of-factly as Whis and Vados nervously walked towards Naruto. Hello Whis, Vados. It has been far too long. Naruto said with regret as Whis bowed deeply and Vados threw herself into Naruto's chest, burying her face into his chest much to the sheer shock of everyone. I thought you would never come back. Vados cried as Naruto released Zeno, who floated back to the Grand Priest. Naruto then wrapped his arms around the female angel, patting her head softly as she sobbed for Abbott.
I am sorry for leaving. I thought I could leave things to you and the others, but now I am back for good. Naruto promised as Vados dried her tears and pulled back. Champa wanted desperately to ask who this man was to get such an emotional reaction from his angel and to get such familiar response from the Grand Priest and Omni-King himself. However, he dare not rise without the permission of the Omni-King himself. Naruto frowned at how stiff everyone was and gestured with his hand for them to rise, and Zeno and the Grand Priest nodded. You may all rise. The Grand Priest announced as everyone slowly rose to their feet. Grand Priest Sama, who is this man? Champa asked with pure politeness as Vados gave him a glare making him shudder. The Grand Priest was about to answer, but Naruto raised his hand. I might as well tell everyone, so we might as wait for everyone to show up. Zeno nodded his head happily. Very well. The Grand Priest nodded in acknowledgement. The gods were shocked beyond belief that somebody could command so much respect that both the Grand Priest and Zeno themselves would take his request seriously. Now about the Super Dragon Balls. The Grand Priest frowned. How about this? From what I can understand, Champa wants an Earth in his universe, so he started this tournament, correct?
Naruto asked as Champa nodded furiously when the Grand Priest turned his attention to him. How about I use the wish so Champa can have his Earth restored? Naruto suggested as Champa eyes widened while Beerus grit his teeth. In exchange, Champa must make a promise never to attack planets in the 7th universe or threaten anyone in Beerus's domain. Naruto suggested as Zeno and the Grand Priest looked thoughtful.
Who is this guy? This is like the perfect wish, so we won't have to worry about Champa anymore. Bulma thought with wide eyes. That sounds great to me, Zeno said in excitement. Yes, that sounds like a great compromise. Any objections? Champa-san? Beerus-san? The Grand Priest acts as the gods in question shook their heads furiously. Very well, now to make the wish in question. Naruto announced as Bulma's eyes widened and she meekly raised her hand. Yes, miss? Naruto asked with a quirked eyebrow. Bulma, brief sir. Bulma said cautiously as Ace seemed to be on equal footing with the gods. Seeing him nod and wave his hand for her to continue, we are still missing the 7th Super Dragon Ball. Bulma said awkwardly as Naruto blinked before laughing. You don't know. This planet is the last Super Dragon Ball. Naruto said with a chuckle as everyone's eyes widened. Naruto snapped his fingers as everyone blinked as the arena and bubble zoomed out of the planet, and he snapped his fingers again as the planet shone, revealing the Super Dragon Ball. Come forth, Dragon of the Gods, and grant my wish, pretty peas. Naruto shouted in the language of the gods as all 7 Super Dragon Balls shone before they turned into a massive golden dragon as the orb covering the group hovered towards the head of the dragon. To use the Super Dragon Balls, only beings who can speak the language of the gods can speak to Super Shenron. Naruto informed the excited crowd. Now, I wish for the planet Earth in Universe 6 to be revived along with its people and animals as if there was no civil war at all. Naruto said the language of the gods as the dragon's eyes turned red before it roared as it turned back into the planet-sized Dragon Balls and zoomed to different points in Universe 6 and 7. They're all done. Naruto said cheerfully. Now we need a place to gather where everyone can come to talk about me. Naruto hummed. How about the palace? Zeno suggested as the gods gasped. None of them were allowed into the palace of Zeno without explicit permission except the angels.
Sounds like a plan. Now everyone hold hands, so we only need to teleport once. Naruto announced as Vados instantly claimed one of his hands while Zeno resumed his spot on his shoulder, making him chuckle. Whis grabbed his sister's other hand while the Grand Priest put a hand on Naruto's other shoulder.
You can grab onto me as Supreme Kais can instantly go to the palace with permission. Shin said as everyone put a hand on his shoulders while Universe 6 did the same with Fua.
Kai. Naruto and the Supreme Kai said as they all disappeared in a flash of light.
As they reappeared outside the palace of Zeno, Beerus turned to the mortals and said seriously, Mortals. This is a rare privilege not even I am afforded lightly. Do not mess it up. Beerus warned them menacingly as everyone gulped. Although how did that Naruto come here? Only Supreme Kais can use Kai, yet his power seems to be on the level of angels or above. Beerus thought as he watched the blonde chat happily with Vados and Whis. As they walked through the palace, Naruto turned to the Grand Priest and said, Please summon all the angels from the 12 universes. I owe it them all to explain. Naruto said seriously as Whis decided to axe. What about the destroyers and Supreme Kais? Whis asked with a smile. Naruto shrugged. Sure, summon them too, as I guess they're your students more or less. Naruto said nonchalantly as they stopped in a massive throne room.
Very well. Calling all angels and Supreme Kais. This is an emergency summons from Zeno-sama. Please make your way to the throne room as soon as possible. The Grand Priest shouted into his staff as every angel heard the call from their own staff. Now we shall have to wait a few minutes.
It will only take that long to gather the gods from all 12 universes here? Goku asked in amazement as Beerus thumped his head for being rude. Why yes. When I ask on behalf of Zeno-sama it typically gets done. The Grand Priest replied as Naruto looked amused at Goku's informal attitude. Chapter 2: The 12 Universe Assemble. Naruto continued to chat with Whis and Vados, only raising an eyebrow when he saw out the corner of his eye the jealous and petty look sent by Champa. He also saw how the mortals were on edge around the deities, making him frown. Vados saw a frown appear on Naruto's face and was about to ask about it until Naruto's face turned happy with a massive grin. Naruto beckoned the angels and Zeno to come closer as he whispered something while the angels listened closely. The gods were on edge, wondering what they were discussing and if it would possibly blow back on them. To everyone's shock, Vados gave a girly giggle while the angels had mischievous grin mirrored by Naruto. Naruto waved goodbye to the angels and then the mortals before he gave a wink and smirk. His eyes turned back to red with spirals as he vanished before anyone could say another word. Grand Priest, Zeno-sama, where did that guy go, my lords? Beerus decided to ask, seeing as they did not appear to be in the mood to erase him right now. Naruto has decided he wants to make an entrance when our guests arrive, along with it being a surprise. So, by decree of Zeno-sama himself, nobody here will say anything about Naruto until he reveals himself once again. The Grand Priest announced as Champa grumbled on why they had to adhere to the wishes of a random blonde. "Shut up or I will erase you," Zeno said coldly, losing his friendly smile as Champa grew pale and apologized profusely as Bulma's sweat dropped at how the gods demanded respect but were suck-ups to Zeno and the Grand Priest. "That goes for the rest of you. If you reveal Naruto's existence before he comes back himself, Zeno-sama will have no problem erasing you on the spot," the Grand Priest revealed as everyone got on their knees and promised on their lives they would keep their mouths shut. A few more minutes passed before several voices could be heard from the Grand Priest's staff. "My lord, we are teleporting in," several voices announced as Beerus pointed to the arena where 10 groups of lights appeared. The angels, supreme Kais and god of destructions of all 12 universes were in the palace now. Although notably 2 universes had an additional person for each universe. "Welcome. Thank you for coming on such quick notice, although Universe 10 and Universe 11 appear to have an additional guest than requested. May you introduce yourselves?" the Grand Priest announced with a hand gesture. "Of course, my lords. This Zamasu, my lord. He is going to be my successor Supreme Kai in the future, so I thought it would be appropriate if he got to see a meeting of gods in person." Gawasu, current Supreme Kai of Universe 10, revealed as Zamasu bowed his head. "Zeno-sama, Grand Priest, it is an honor to meet you. I hope my presence will not be an issue," Zamasu said with respect. The Grand Priest looked at Zeno, who shook his head. "It appears Zeno-sama is fine with it as long as you remember proper protocol," Grand Priest said with authority. "Of course, my lord. You honor me," Zamasu said thankfully, although he did turn his head to look at Universe 6 and 7, who had mortals along with their gods. "This is blasphemy. Having mortals heat in this sacred land. Their very presence defiles this land where only gods may stand," he thought angrily. "Now Universe 11. Please introduce your extra member," the Grand Priest demanded politely. "Of course, my lord. This is Toppo. He will be my successor one day as God of Destruction for Universe 11. I requested he be here to see what meetings would look like in the future," Belmond, a clown-like God of Destruction, said with a bow. Toppo was on his knees in reverence.
The Grand Priest looked at Zeno, who shrugged. "Very well, Belmond-san. Toppo-san, our great Zeno-sama has allowed it. The same warnings apply to you as well, of course," Grand Priest said as Belmond thanked the gods.
Zamasu decided to speak his mind while still on his knees. "My lord," Zamasu said with politeness as Zeno huffed. "What is it, Zamasu-san?" As you can see, Zeno-sama is not pleased at being interrupted, the Grand Priest said with a sigh. "Forgive me, but what are mortals in our sacred land from Universe 6 and 7? Zamasu asked with barely held contempt in his voice. His questions got murmurs from the other universes as well, while Beerus just growled. "Too much noise," Zeno said in annoyance as the Grand Priest looked stern.
"Silence," Grand Priest demanded, and everyone instantly grew silent. These mortals are honored guests of Zeno-sama who have amused him. He has invited them personally to this realm. The Grand Priest revealed as the gods of other universes' eyes widened. If you have a problem with them staying here, feel free to take it up with His Majesty himself, but be warned, any action against his guests means your universe will suffer as well. The Grand Priest warned as the gods gulped and nobody spoke again.
The Grand Priest then summarized what happened in the Tournament of Destroyers, making the gods gasp at the thought of 3 mortals here, Goku, Vegeta and Hit, whose powers entered the realm of the gods. He was careful to exclude Naruto's involvement, making it sound like a routine inspection of himself and Zeno, which nobody caught up on. Damn it, Beerus and Champa. Making that stupid tournament and involving Zeno-sama. Quitela, the god of destruction of Universe 4, seethed in his mind. He still was resentful towards Beerus for skipping and sleeping, though the last all Universe 12 hide and seek for 50 years. Zamasu, isn't it fascinating that the rumors of the Super Dragon Balls turned out to be true? Gawasu said excitedly as Cuss Angel of Universe 10 smiled happily. He was speaking to his apprentice, who had a dark glint in his eyes that made Cuss frown for a second before smiling again. Yes, my lord. Zamasu said in a submissive voice, but his thoughts were much darker inside. Damn mortals daring to get into the domains of the gods. Although the power of the Super Dragon Balls intrigues me, Zamasu seethed inside his mind. I don't care how many mortals claim to have the powers of the gods, they will never match up to Universe 11. Especially with you and Jiren as part of my universe. Belmond whispered to Toppo, who nodded. That is correct, Belmond-sama. Justice is always on the side of our universe. Toppo whispered back before he took a quick look at Goku. Besides that, one's energy seems far too low to be any real threat, although it does appear he is not at full power. Toppo mused, not realizing Goku was suffering from side effects of using Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken X10 recklessly. Zeno whispered something to the Grand Priest, who nodded. Excuse me. Our Lord wishes for everyone to introduce themselves since he can't remember who everyone is, so we shall have all gods from the universe 1 to 12 introduce themselves in ascending order. Starting with Universe 1, if you shall please. The Grand Priest decreed as everyone stood at attention. Geez, that little thing is supposed to be the lord of everything but can't remember who he lords over. Better not talk. Bulma thought to herself in astonishment, but realized this was not the time to talk. From Universe 1, I am the god of destruction Iwan with my angel Awamo and Supreme Kai Anado. Iwan said with a bow, gesturing to his angel and Supreme Kais, who also bowed. The Grand Priest nodded and gestured for Universe 2 to continue. Bulma quickly bashed Roshi's head before he could start drooling over the god of destruction for Universe 2. My lords, it is a wonderful and beautiful occasion to be honored by your presence. It is I, the beautiful and graceful god of destruction Hellas. My beautiful Supreme Kai is pale and handsome Ange is sour. Hellas announced with a curtsy and bow. Hellas was notably the only female god of destruction, and she was extremely beautiful and slender. She had light brown skin with black hair and red lipstick. She had green eyes with turquoise eyeliner and very large breasts. She wore what appeared to be Egyptian-style clothing, exposing her stomach with Egyptian apparel, a headdress, a dark turquoise sash, and a white skirt. Zeno clapped while the Grand Priest chuckled. Thank you, Hellas-san. It appears Zeno was most pleased with your entrance. The Grand Priest said with amusement, as this made Hellas gasp and bow deeply. Naruto also appears to rather taken in with her. He mused as he looked at what looked like an empty space next to Zeno, but in reality, Naruto was sitting there. Despite what Universe 6 and 7 believed, Naruto did not actually leave but was sitting in a pocket space invisible to all except him and Zeno. Naruto could hear and see everything, and he could see the intrigued look on his face along with a wink sent his way. And two. Sour and Pell could only chuckle as they bowed along with Hellas as the Grand Priest waved his hand. I am Mule of Universe 3, my lords. I am our universe god of destruction and our Supreme Kai as heir and Angel Campari. Mule said with a bow, but it came out as beeps, so Campari translated. Naruto personally thought it was strange Mule was inside another body and heir looked like a geek, but didn't bother commenting on that. I am Quitela, my lords, god of destruction for Universe 4 Kakeke. Quitela chortled as he bowed. My Supreme Kai is Kuru and Angel Cognac. He said proudly as he thought, if Beerus messes this up, I swear I will end him and his little universe. That one looks like a rat, and not just because he looks like a mouse. Naruto mused, sensing great negative emotions directed at Beerus. Naruto soon zoomed out the rest of the introductions, only focusing on Vados with a wink and a look of longing, which sadly she couldn't see as he set up his pocket space so angels could not see him. If they could see him, it would ruin the surprise. He was mildly surprised at how all the gods of destruction glared at Beerus when he introduced himself, thinking that Beerus must be quite interesting to have the other 11 universes so pissed at him. Universe 8 God of Destruction Liquar mildly interested him, if nothing else to see a fox-like god. Universe 9 somewhat surprised him, as the Supreme Kai from that universe Ro seemed to much more bloodthirsty than his God of Destruction counterpart Ro, who seemed like a wimp in Naruto's opinion. One thing I do notice is all these gods of destruction and some of the Supreme Kais seem pretty prideful and holier than thou. Don't see why they are so proud. They can be replaced at the drop of a hat, unlike the angels who are eternal unless erased by Zen. Naruto thought, sourly, hating deities who had no respect for mortal lives. He honestly preferred based on first glances the mortals from Universe 6 and 7 who at least seemed to have real personalities instead of being proud of themselves. Now onto Universe 10, who has a special guest in a form of an apprentice Supreme Kai. The Grand Priest announced as all the deities from Universe 10 bowed. Yes, my lord. I am Gawasu, the current Supreme Kai, along with my apprentice Zamasu. Gawasu announced as Zamasu kept his head down, but his hatred was visible light as day for Naruto. Along with Rumshi, our god of destruction, and Kus, our angel. Gawasu continued as Naruto briefly raised an eyebrow at the elephant-like god of destruction before his eyes widened in happiness at the oldest angel besides the Grand Priest. Despite her young-looking, petite figure, she was the oldest of her angel siblings. It took all he had not to blow his cover to rush over there and smother Kus with love and affection when he saw a deep sadness in her eyes that he saw in Vados' eyes. Naruto sent a stop motion to the Grand Priest and Zeno so they would not immediately go on to the next universe, as he spent another minute just looking at the angel. Zeno just started making up random demands for random gods which they obligated, which nobody objected to or suspected otherwise, as his whimsical personality was well known to be random. Despite the Grand Priest proclamation that this was for Zeno's benefit, it really was for Naruto's, who did not know any of the current god of destructions or Supreme Kais. Elephant Man, hop on one foot. Zeno demanded, pointing at Rumshi, who quickly did the demand much to his embarrassment, as several gods looked like they were restraining themselves from laughing. After one more proud stare at Kus, he glared at Zamasu, whose hatred was leaking out to the mortals sitting in Universe 6 and 7, although Naruto suspected he had a deep hatred to all mortals regardless of universes. I swear I will end his existence if he does anything. He almost caused a riot by pointing out that mortals were allowed in this place. I don't care if he was selected to be a Supreme Kai, someday he will be gone if he tries anything. Naruto swore to himself as he waved a signal to the Grand Priest and Zeno, who finally appeared to be ready to continue. It looks like Zeno-sama is ready to continue. If you will, Universe 11. The Grand Priest announced as Zeno turned his head to where Universe 11 sat. It is my great honor to show off my replacement someday, Topo, my lords. It is I, the humble Belmond, god of destruction for Universe 11. Belmond said proudly as he gestured to the kneeling Pride Trooper. Naruto still thought he looked like a clown, but he had a feeling he was anything but funny. I am the Supreme Kai of Universe 11 Kai, along with our angel Margarita. Kai announced, showing that Universe 11 had a more balanced relationship between gods and destroyers. Naruto quickly took note of how certain universes the Supreme Kai, like Shin of Universe 7, cowered to their destroyers, while others like Ro of Universe 9 seemed more in charge than their destroyers. Universe 11 uniquely seemed to have both destroyer and god on the same level. Margarita was a beautiful angel who was nearly equal in height to her sister Vados, although she had a more proud smirk with twin pigtails, unlike Vados, who only had long ponytail. Both Margarita and Vados have kept their beauty after all those years, and Kus is still adorable. Naruto thought happily as he sent a happy smile the clueless angel. However, Naruto's thoughts grew dark when he saw Belmond close distance to Margarita. If that clown made any moves on Margarita, I swear I will destroy him no matter what. If I have to destroy a universe, so be it. That goes for that fat cat in Vados or that elephant in Kus. Naruto swore with his eyes narrowed. His eyes were red with slits before returning to red with rings and Tomo. That Pride Trooper Topo was it? His power seems close to the Saiyans from Universe 7, so it is fair to say any of them could be destroyers in the future. Naruto analyzed as he gestured for the Grand Priest to finish. Finally, Universe 12, if you would. The Grand Priest said, gesturing to the last universe. I am Gin, god of destruction from Universe 12, along with Agu and Martinu, my lords. A fish-like god of destruction introduced his universe. All the Supreme Kais kinda look similar, and of course angels do as well, but god of destruction come in all shapes and sizes. From fish, cats, elephants, clowns, robots, mice, humans and bearded men. Naruto mused, looking over the assembled deities once over. Now that all the universes have gathered, we shall start with our agenda today. The Grand Priest announced, only to get a cough from Belmond, making the Grand Priest frown. Is there a problem, Belmond-san? The Grand Priest asked calmly with a hint of impatience as Belmond gulped but ignored the worried looks sent his way. I am sorry to interrupt my lord, but is it really needed for the mortals from Universe 6 and 7 to be here? Belmond asked, boldly ignoring the withering glare from Beerus and warning stare from his angel. I can understand Topo and even Universe 10's Zamasu being here, as they will replace 2 of our positions today, but the mortals surely do not be here, correct? Belmond said slyly as several gods started whispering to each other. I concur, my lord. Unless Beerus is planning for one of his mortals to replace him, that is. Quitela chimed in with a mocking smile towards Beerus. I am afraid Lord Beerus does not currently need a replacement, my lords. Whis replied with a tired voice as Vegeta and Goku just gulped as how mad Beerus was becoming. Boo. Zeno said plainly as his frown became prominent. That is enough, Belmond-san. These honored guests were requested to come here, so unless your authority surpasses Zeno-sama, I suggest you stay quiet. The Grand Priest said coolly as Belmond whimpered, while Margarita just sighed at her selfish god of destruction attempt to sow discord against Beerus and his universe. Belmond can be such a child sometimes. Margarita thought to herself as she rolled her eyes in annoyance. Naruto decided it was best to reveal himself, partly to defuse the situation and partly how much he missed the angels. May I cut in? Naruto announced as his sudden voice out of nowhere made every deity on edge except Zeno, the Grand Priest, and the deities from Universe 6 and 7, who only widened their eyes recognizing his voice. Who dares trespass on this place? Zamasu acts angrily, ignoring Gawasa warning about speaking so openly in this meeting despite his low rank. Me, of course. Naruto announced as he appeared in a portal, revealing he was there the entire time in the throne room with his eyes in their ringed format before returning to blue when he materialized. His sudden appearance made everyone except Zeno and the Grand Priest leap up into a defensive position. Even Whis and Vados were a bit surprised as they could not sense him despite being right in front of him. "Ah, I know it's been a while, but no hug?" Naruto whined with a mock-hurt voice as he widened his arms out as if expecting a hug. This made the mortals from Universe 6 and 7 sweatdrop, while the Destroyers and Supreme Kais were still in stances. However, the angels' eyes widened as they took in Naruto's voice and look as if they could not believe he was here. Is it really you? Margarita asked as Belmond sent her a bewildered look, seeing tears in his angel's eyes. What are you talking about? Who is this intruder? Belmond demanded, only to get ignored by the angel who only had eyes on Naruto. Dear sister, it is 100% him. Vados confirmed as suddenly there appeared to be a sonic boom from Universe 10 as everyone glanced over to see Kus run at speeds nobody had ever seen before, not even from God of Destructions. Kus ran straight at Naruto, who only smiled before he picked her up and swung her around when she barreled into his chest. Kus-sama. What are you doing? Zamasu demanded as Rumshi also looked furious. It is really you. Kus cried out as Naruto gently pat her head and rubbed her back. Yeah, I just back today and I am truly sorry I left, my dear Kus. Naruto apologized as Kus gave a warm, genuine smile as she backed off. Before any of the destroyers could react, the other angels vanished and appeared in front of Naruto. Margarita had grabbed one of Naruto's arms into her bountiful chest, while Vados took his Toher arm into her ample chest. Kus merely buried her face into Naruto's chest as Naruto grinned. This position made one old pervert in particular start drooling, only to be clonked on the head by both 18 and Bulma. The other angels were male bent the knee in respect as the destroyers just gasped like fish out of the water at the show of love and respect given to the unknown blonde, far surpassing what was given to destroyers and even Zeno-sama. Rumshi shouted, Zeno-sama, Grand Priest. Why are our angels showing so much respect to this blonde mortal? Belmond and several destroyers looked ready to agree with the destroyer from Universe 10 until they saw the glare and dark looks sent from every angel along with the Grand Priest and even Zeno. Everyone hastily backed away from the terrified elephant as Kus had the darkest look he had ever seen thrown his way. Naruto is our creator and the beginning of everything, so shut you mouth, destroyer. Kus hissed as Ki leaped out of her in anger. That's right, to him everyone besides us angels and Zeno-sama are just mortals. So if you insult him you insult us all. Margarita added as her hair stood up in anger at the insult. Creator? Belmond stuttered as everyone looked wide-eyed at the smirking blonde. That's right. I created my dear angels, the being you call the Grand Priest and Zeno, long before any of you were even a thought. Naruto said with a smirk as all the deities and mortals promptly passed out from shock. Oh geez. Oh well, I will revive them in just a few minutes, but first, Naruto said before capturing Margarita in a passionate kiss, making her moan as Vados and Kus looked jealous while the other angels just laughed along with Zeno and the Grand Priest. After a hot minute he went to Vados and resumed a passionate kiss on her as Margarita tried to catch her breath and Kus had a pout. Another minute later he released Vados, who looked out of breath and red in the face. Before he could react, Kus threw herself at Naruto, wrapping her arms around his neck as they shared another passionate kiss for a good minute. Did you enjoy yourself, sisters? Whis asked with a smirk, pointing at both female angels who had massive smiles and blushes on their faces. Yes, brother, it has far too long, Vados admitted without shame. It has far too long indeed. Much better than when that clown tried to kiss me when I first become his mentor. Luckily, he only got a staff in the face. It took a few centuries before he realized I was off limits, Margarita said with distaste as she glared at her passed-out god of destruction with annoyance. Luckily for Universe 11, Naruto was too preoccupied with Kus, or else their universe, or at least the god of destruction, would be gone for Bellman's actions towards Margarita. After Kus released Naruto, she gasped for air as Naruto looked relaxed but much happier. I guess I will revive them in a minute, Naruto said as the angels laughed at him. Only the female angels were born with the desire for sex or romantic feelings, which only applied to Naruto himself. The males, however, still found it funny to joke about Naruto loving his daughters in a naughty way, but they knew, unlike mortals, it was not wrong. It seems our family is back together at last, the Grand Priest said happily as Zeno smiled widely. Now they would have to deal with the fallout of this reveal and pesky rebels before it became a problem. Chapter 3: Zamasu's End. I guess I should wake everyone up and explain things, huh? Naruto said with a sigh as the angels laughed at his annoyed look. They knew the reason why they led the universes to believe Zeno was the creator of everything was partially due to Naruto's insistence of avoiding the spotlight. To Sama, if you wish, I would be happy to explain on your behalf, the Grand Priest offered as Naruto gave him a warm smile. The Grand Priest was always loyal to a fault to both his creator and Zeno, but Naruto shook his head.
Now you have handled things well in my stead. It is my turn to show some responsibility, Naruto said as he snapped his fingers as a blue light surrounded every mortal and deity on the ground, waking them up instantly.
Man, I had the most bizarre dream that a blonde claimed to have created Zeno-sama and all the angels. That is crazy, right, Whis? Beerus said as he yawned, rubbing his eyes. Nope, not a dream, just a recent event 5 minutes ago, Naruto chirped as everyone looked wide-eyed at the blonde who was surrounded by the angels, confirming that their recent memories were not a dream. My lords, surely this man jests. He cannot possibly have created all of you, or we would have heard of him, Zamasu shouted as he could not sense any ki coming from Naruto. This proved in his mind he must be so far beneath him that Naruto must be immortal. The other gods, however, held their breath in fear as Kus radiated killer intent that flooded the area, while the Grand Priest and Zeno frowns made everyone fear for their lives. Ironically enough, Naruto did not seem the least put off from the apprentice Supreme Kai's accusations. Zamasu-san, you should watch your tongue before Zeno-sama decides to erase it and the rest of you for your insolence, the Grand Priest warned with a calm but furious tone of voice as Zamasu stumbled back a few steps. Rumshi decided to step in before Zeno decided to erase his universe's apprentice Supreme Kai and possibly entire universe in annoyance. Forgive Zamasu, my lords. He can be a bit talkative. I am afraid he does not quite understand where he sits on the deity ranking, Rumshi explained as he glared at Zamasu, who bowed his head in repentance although he felt no regret for his words. Kus's killer intent vanished although she still glared heavily at the deities she was in charge of, while Zeno and the Grand Priest had neutral expressions. I believe what my counterpart's apprentice is trying to say is, we are just a bit curious on how none of us were made aware of my lord's creator all this time and how we are unable to sense his ki at all, Rumshi said smoothly as they got the intended effect of the other deities besides Beerus to start to question how they couldn't sense Naruto's ki. Those foolish gods. The reason they cannot sense Naruto's power is because it is so far above theirs it is inconceivable how powerful he is, Vegeta thought furiously, having unable to see Naruto move towards Whis and Vados from before.
Those idiots are going to get all erased. If Naruto really did create the angels and Zeno-sama, then insulting him by implying he is so weak we cannot sense him is going to get all of them to erase us. Beerus thought urgently, seeing the angel's neutral expression turn dark.
Before Gawasa could reprimand his apprentice or god of destruction counterpart for their rudeness, he heard a thud. Everyone turned and saw Kus appear with Rumshi on the floor with a massive crater around him, while Zamasu was coughing up blood as Kus' fist was implanted in his stomach. Kus-sama. Forgive us, but what are you doing? Gawasa acts in shock as his normally friendly angel teacher looked murderous. The rest of the angels looked pleased at her actions. Gawasa, I do not hold you responsible for their words and actions, but they have spoken far too freely towards Naruto-sama. Zamasu shall pay. Kus hissed as she pulled her fist back and let Zamasu fall forward, only to grab his neck and hold him up with one hand as she charged godly ki in the other hand. She was several feet shorter than Zamasu, but she hovered in the air so that she was holding onto Zamasu's throat and had his feet dangling pitifully. Zeno-sama. Please stop this. This is not how angels are supposed to act. Belmond pleaded, as although he held no love for Universe 10, it was more the idea that angels attacked directly without permission from a deity that upset him. My lord. Would you care to explain how angels are supposed to act? Margarita asked with a sweet smile, but her eyes threatened to skin him alive as Belmond gulped. He may be proud of having the only mortal that a god of destruction could not beat, but even he recognized that her power far exceeded Jiren's, Toppo's and his own. Destroy him but make him suffer. Zeno said instead as he looked delighted at the suffering the apprentice Supreme Kai was showing. Zamasu gasped desperately, trying to pry the angel's hand from his throat, but despite her short stature her powers far exceeded his own as he was unable to even make the angel flinch. The other gods were too shell-shocked to do another but stay quiet. It was an unspoken rule that angels were only to reprimand gods of destruction if they were to destroy entire universes, but never fight directly, especially against the deities they were supposed to guide. Just before Kus could snap Zamasu neck or destroy him outright with divine power, Naruto decided to intervene. Kus-chan, that is enough. Let him go. Naruto said with a sigh as Kus grit her teeth but let Zamasu fall on the ground, gasping for air. Naruto-sama. Let me destroy him. He insulted you directly to your face and deserves worse than death. Kus insisted as Naruto shook his head. Kus-chan, I don't care what the gods of destruction or Supreme Kais think of me, to be honest. However, Zamasu seems to be under the impression I am just a lowly mortal, so I think he deserves a chance to prove his point. Naruto mused as he gestured to Zamasu, who was still gasping for air. Kus frowned but summoned her staff and waved it towards Zamasu and Rumshi, who recovered but notably fled away from the irate angel. Naruto whispered to Zeno and the Grand Priest, who frowned but nodded. Very well, Naruto has requested an exhibition match between himself and Zamasu-san of Universe 10 and Zeno-sama has approved it. The Grand Priest announced as everyone turned to the cocky apprentice Supreme Kai, who looked much more relieved. He would be facing Naruto directly now. Rumshi whispered into Zamasu's ear, good going, Zamasu. Now just humiliate this worthless blonde so Zeno-sama and the angel can remember how things are supposed to be. Rumshi seemed above himself in delight as Zamasu bowed his head in respect. Of course, my lord. This is all for the sake of restoring things to how things are supposed to be. Zamasu replied as Rumshi clapped him on the shoulder in pride. Fool. When things are restored to normal, I will need to find a way to gather the Super Dragon Balls to get the infinite power of Son Goku and kill all the Supreme Kais. Although the destroyers could kill less about destroying a few thousand mortals, I need to eradicate them all. So, all the destroyers need to be incapacitated. Sorry Lord Rumshi, but you and Gawasa-sama need to vanish for my plans to come into effect. Zamasu thought darkly, not knowing Naruto could sense his dark thoughts clear as day. Seeing Margarita, his angel, stand so close to the unknown blonde made Belmond furious. True, Margarita had threatened to beat him within an inch of his life for trying to hook up with her before this blonde appeared, but in the destroyer's eyes Margarita's disrespectful attitude all stemmed from this Naruto. I don't care what magic this blonde mortal has used to ensure the angels in Zeno, but once he has proven nothing but a weak mortal, everything shall return to normal. Belmond thought to himself. He refused to believe the angel's account that Naruto somehow created them, as it would mean he was an entity that far surpassed all of the deities here, and that was impossible. Damn it, Vados. First you tell on me to Zeno-sama, then you act all lover-dovey with this blonde. I can't wait to see this Naruto guy fail so you can see that my side is the only place you need to be, Champa muttered as Beerus scoffed. Man, this should be fun. A match between Naruto, who seems insanely strong, and Zamasu, who seems pretty strong too, Goku said happily as Vegeta rolled his eyes at his rival's immature attitude. Damn it, Kakarot. Vegeta sighed before he looked at Shin. Supreme Kai. Vegeta said as Shin widened his eyes. Yes, Vegeta? What is it? Shin asked politely as Elder Kai muttered about being him too shy to mortals. It seems nobody besides the angels have any real idea about Naruto, right? Vegeta asked as everyone shook their heads. So what can you tell me about this Zamasu? He is supposed to be a Supreme Kai in the future, right? Vegeta asked Abbott rudely as Bulma gave him a quick thump on the head. Yes. I have heard he was the Northern Lord of Worlds for Universe 10, but Gawasa-sama is currently teaching him how to be a Supreme Kai so he can retire. Rumor has it compared to the Supreme Kais of the 12 universes, Zamasu is stronger than any of us. Shin revealed as Goku whistled in appreciation. Man sounds tough. I wish I could fight him. Goku whined as Vegeta frowned. Please, Kakarot, Zamasu is nothing special. Even if I or you were to not use blue or god forms, we could beat him. Vegeta remarked as Goku shrugged his shoulders. Attention everyone. I will make an arena in just a minute. Please wait by your respective universes quietly so we can begin this exhibition match. The Grand Priest announced as all chatter instantly stopped. The Grand Priest clapped his hands together as the thrones hovered and the room itself expanded as a large arena appeared out of nowhere in the middle. He added platforms underneath each universe which hovered high in the air as the arena sat on the floor. Several angels had returned to stand by their respective universes, although Kus, Vados and Margarita stubbornly refused to leave Zeno's side, who did not seem to mind. Please enjoy this match, which will end when Zeno-sama or myself have deemed it pointless to continue. The Grand Priest announced as he gestured for Zamasu and Naruto to enter the ring. Naruto-san may have a fair and honest fight for Zeno-sama. Zamasu said politely with a bow as Naruto raised an eyebrow. I hope so too, Zamasu. Naruto replied with a smile. He thought to himself, wow, I can't believe this guy can speak with all that shit coming out of his mouth. Begin. The Grand Priest shouted, waving his hand down as he hovered and flew to be by Zeno's side. I will let him dance around for Abbott before I use my powers to reveal his plans and get rid of him once and for all. Kus should not have such vermin in her universe, although that Gawasu guy seems at least honest if not Abbott naive. Naruto remarked as he stood across from Zamasu with his hands in by his sides. This is my chance. He isn't in a stance. Zamasu thought to himself as he charged in at full speed. Take this. Zamasu shouted as he coated his hand in ki and swung the makeshift sword at Naruto's head. To everyone's shock except the angels, Naruto had effortlessly blocked the ki sword with the back on his left hand as he looked bored. Is that all you got? Naruto asked in boredom as Zamasu grit his teeth. Damn it. I refuse to be looked down upon like this. Zamasu announced in anger as he started a fierce barrage of swings with both hands covered in ki, while Naruto still looked bored, dodging swings with ease or just blocking with no visible aura around his hands. Beautiful. That man Naruto is truly a strong, beautiful being. Would you not agree, Sour-sama? Hellas asked excitedly as Sour chuckled. Indeed, Hellas-sama. Naruto is indeed beautiful, as you say. He is both my creator and friend to all. Sour commented as he continued to watch Naruto bat away Zamasu's strikes with ease. Face me, coward, and fight back. Zamasu demanded as he started to grow demented with anger as his strikes became sharper and aiming for vital points, although Naruto easily still parried and blocked with the greatest of ease. If you insist. Naruto relented as he caught Zamasu's sword hand with no visible discomfort, using his left hand before he used his right hand in front of Zamasu's glaring face. Poke. Naruto said lightly as he flicked his finger at his forehead as he let go of Zamasu's hand. There was a moment of silence before the flick sent Zamasu head back and his entire body flew backwards with great speed as the force of the flick soon showed its effects. This greatly shocked the deities that such a simple action could cause a Supreme Kai level being to be sent flying. Zamasu flew backwards as he cried out before he crashed through a pillar and it collapsed on him. Suigo. This is just like when I fought you as a Super Saiyan 3 when we first met Beerus-sama, Goku said in excitement as Beerus had a small smile on his face. Yes, I was trying not to kill you and it seems Naruto is doing the same as Zamasu. Beerus noted as Naruto just stretched his arms out and yawned. Gawasu. What is with your apprentice bringing such shame to Universe 10? Rumshi demanded his counterpart who sputtered, not used to seeing his strong apprentice face such an opponent. Forgive me Rumshi-sama. I don't know what is happening. It appears Zamasu was not holding back, but this Naruto seems to be a completely different level. Gawasu admitted, baffled at THSE turns of events. Damn it. I knew I could not count on Universe 10 to send a decent fighter. I guess I will have to step in and show this mortal that defeating a Supreme Kai is nothing compared to my powers. Belmond hissed in his mind, annoyed that Naruto defeated Zamasu with such ease.
Zeno and the Grand Priest looked pleased, with the female angels looked absolutely giddy with glee. Especially Kuss, who looked pleased that her prey was getting his just desserts for insulting her beloved creator.
Naruto took several leisure steps towards Zamasu, who with great pulled himself out of the rubble with his forehead bleeding from the dent caused by the flick. Damn it all. Zamasu swore as he spat out blood and glared heatedly at Naruto, who looked down at him with distaste. Don't get so convoluted, mortal. Face divine wrath. Zamasu declared as he charged all his ki into one blast, only for Naruto to grab his wrist and break it with ease. Crack. Was the sound heard across the entire room as Zamasu cries of pain soon followed as Naruto merciless broke the apprentice Supreme Kai wrist, making it hang on the floor uselessly. Grand Priest. Zeno-sama. Surely this is taking it too far. Naruto broke Zamasu wrist without provocation. Rumshi demanded, trying to find some fault for Naruto's actions as Gawasu looked at his apprentice with pity. The Grand Priest did not look impressed with Rumeshi's attempt to discredit Naruto, but did look at Zeno, who clapped his hands. Naruto is making this fun, Zeno chanted as he kicked his feet up. It seems Zeno-sama is fine with Naruto's actions, the Grand Priest announced with a hidden smirk as Rumshi grit his teeth in humiliation while Beerus smirked. Naruto quickly bent down to Zamasu broken form, and without anyone seeing it his eyes turned red as he stared directly into Zamasu's, whose eyes glazed over for a second before turning back to their hate-filled glare. You really are pathetic. You do not have the power to accomplish your goals, so you intend to take a shortcut, Naruto said with annoyance as several gods started to whisper at his words while Rumshi growled at his impudence. Naruto, if you continue to say such words, Universe 10 will hate you no matter what I say, the Grand Priest said with a sigh as Naruto shrugged his shoulders. If they hate me for talking bad about a deity who wants to kill all mortals, so be it, Naruto said with indifference as Gawasu for once was outraged. How dare you say that? Gawasu demanded as Rumshi was a bit shocked to see his counterpart so passionate. Zamasu is a fine god and someday will lead Universe 10 proudly, Gawasu demanded as Zeno raised a hand. Quiet, I want to hear Naruto talk, Zeno demanded as everyone grew silent. Please Naruto, share your thoughts and why you said those things, the Grand Priest asked politely as Naruto stood up, ignoring the hissing Zamasu. Sure. Zamasu here intends to slaughter every mortal in existence after stealing the body of Son Goku, Naruto said as everyone from Universe 7 started shouting. What purpose would there be stealing the body of a mortal? Hellas acts in shock. Naruto gave her a quick smile before saying in a dark voice, Son Goku is a Saiyan who has the unique power to continue to evolve his powers through battle and eventually to the point where it could surpass deities. Naruto, how would such a task even be possible? Even deities cannot just take over another body. The Grand Priest acts as he stared down at Zamasu with distaste. The Super Dragon Balls, of course, Naruto said as everyone looked down at Naruto with shock. Wait a minute. No matter how powerful Zamasu could become, if he started slaughtering mortals without regard, us destroyers would destroy him first, Champa said confidently as the other god of destruction agreed loudly. Not if he simply killed the Supreme Kais while you weren't looking and you disappeared along with them, Naruto retorted as the gods gasped while the mortals looked confused. Wait, if someone kills a Supreme Kai, the god of destruction also dies? Goku asked while Beerus looked furious at this information was revealed. Oh my. I suppose the cat is out of the bag, huh, Beerus-sama? Whis chortled as Beerus glared at the angel. I don't know why you are so chipper, Whis. If I die then you become inactive. Beerus hissed back quietly as Whis gave an amused smile. I wonder about that now that Naruto is back. Whis said mysteriously as Beerus' eyes widened. Do you have anything to say for yourself, Zamasu-san? The Grand Priest asked with hidden anger while Zamasu just started laughing hysterically. You gods condemn me for my purification process? Zamasu asked with heat before his face turned wicked. You who would do nothing as mortals misuse the power and knowledge given to them by the divine are the ones who are guilty. Anyone who would not use their powers to help the cosmos by getting rid of the source problem, which are mortals, are evil. Zamasu claimed as Gawasu looked down at shame for what his apprentice had become while every other god looked down at him with anger. Zamasu, why have you fallen such evil? You know our roles as Supreme Kais is merely to watch how mortals evolve. The role on whether they need to be destroyed falls on the destroyers and Zeno-sama. Gawasu lectured as Zamasu looked outraged. Why should I stand back and let the destroyers choose who lives and dies when everyone should die? Zamasu retorted as the destroyers looked ready to erase the fallen god. However, the Grand Priest shook his head as she stared intently at the stoic Uzumaki. Enough of this. I shall end you here and now before your destructive ways can hurt anyone else. Naruto said as he stood back and allowed his eyes to change from blue back to red again. Naruto is going to use it, huh? Been a while since I have seen him punish somebody like this. The Grand Priest thought, sensing power build into Naruto's eyes. Amaterasu. Naruto said simply as he stared and focused on Zamasu's unbroken arm. Before everyone, very eyes, black flames ignited out of nowhere and started burning Zamasu arm rapidly. Ah. This is nothing, I can simply overpower it with my divine powers. Zamasu said as A tried to use all his remaining godly ki and surround the black fire, but to his shock the fire simply burned the godly ki along with his arm. Incredible. Whatever those black flames are, it is not only eating away at Zamasu body, it is even consuming ki itself. Shin said in amazement as Beerus' eyes narrowed. This seems like Hakai but somehow different. Beerus thought as he looked at Whis, who did not appear shocked at Naruto's powers. Damn it all. My justice is absolute. I am divine and righteous. I am Zamasu. Zamasu screamed as the black fire had spread quickly and consumed his entire body, leaving nothing, not even ash. Naruto quickly willed the fire away as everyone looked at the spot where the god once stood.
TST. Big deal. Any destroyer could use Hakai and have ended that pitiful god's existence in an instant. Bellman commented as he still did not believe that Naruto could possibly be stronger than him.
Foolish destroyers. Naruto's black flames would consume even Hakai if it got caught by it. Nothing besides myself and Zeno-sama could survive those flames unless he willed them to stop. The Grand Priest thought in disappointment, seeing the proud expressions on most of the destroyers. Gawasu. Next time you pick an apprentice like that I will erase you. Rumshi threatened as Gawasu just gulped. Yes sir. I understand. Gawasu said as he was still sad, his beloved apprentice had fallen so low. The Grand Priest snapped his finger as the hovering platforms moved to be right in front of Zeno's floating throne. Well, I hope that was a lesson to you all that evil like that will not be tolerated, not by Zeno-sama, myself or Naruto. The Grand Priest stated as he stared sternly at the deities who bowed. Toppo, what do you think of Naruto? Belmond whispered to Toppo, who looked conflicted. My lord. While it is true what Zamasu planned to do was twisted and he deserved punishment, only an appointed destroyer or Zeno-sama should hand out death. It is not heroic for anyone else to take another's life regardless of the reason. Toppo whispered back angrily. I see, Toppo. Belmond said calmly, but inside he was smirking. Perfect, if I can get Toppo and Jiren angry at Naruto, I might convince the other deities to help me topple over this unknown threat. Belmond thought to himself, already seeing a plan hatch in his mind. Now that is handled, what would you like to do, Naruto? The Grand Priest asked as everyone stared at the blonde, who looked around before focusing on Universe 7. I believe I want to visit Universe 7 if it's alright with the deities over there? Naruto asked politely with a small bow. Of course, Naruto. It would be our honor. Whis announced as Beerus nodded his head. The Supreme Kais just nodded frantically while Goku looked excited. Very well. Naruto, we shall meet again soon. The Grand Priest announced as Zeno waved. Bye Naruto. Zeno chanted as Naruto waved back. Naruto was about to walk towards Whis until he felt his hands held by Margarita and Vados while Cus looked at him expectantly. Yes. Can I help you? Naruto asked with some amusement as he could sense Champa, Belmond and Rumshi angry emotions as he was walking with their angels in hand. We want to join you wherever you go. Cus said seriously as Vados and Margarita nodded their heads. What about your assigned universes? Naruto asked calmly as the three female angels looked annoyed. I still like Gawasu, but Rumshi may die if I stand close to him for too long. Cus said angrily as Rumshi gulped while Gawasu sighed but looked understanding. Champa is better off without me there. He can eat whatever he wants without my advice. Vados commented as Champa looked ready to argue until Naruto's fierce glare shut him up. Belmond can be a bit much, so I prefer to stay with your Naruto-kun. Margarita said happily as Belmond grit his teeth in anger but held his tongue. It would not do for him to start a fight only Yo get erased by Zeno as Zeno seemed to highly respect the blonde. You guys okay with this? Naruto asked Zeno and the Grand Priest. Yup. It is better this way. Zeno declared as the Grand Priest chuckled and nodded. Very well. I declare this meeting over. Everyone return to your own universes and another meeting shall occur every soon. The Grand Priest announced as group by group vanished with cries of Kai Kai was heard. Hellas did give one more intense stare at Naruto before she left. Belmond gave Naruto a nasty glare along with Rumshi before they vanished back to their respective universes. Lastly, it was just Universe 6 and 7 left. Champa looked impatient as he stood by Fua. Kaba decided to say farewell to the angel who was kind to him. Farewell Vados-sama. Kaba said respectfully as he bowed while Vados did a small courtesy in return. Best of luck Kaba. Naruto will likely visit Universe 6, so I am sure I will visit again soon. Vados promised as Kaba bowed again. He waved bye to Vegeta who grunted before he ran to meet Fua. Soon Universe 6 had returned home leaving just Universe 7. Okay everyone, hold on to the Supreme Kai and we shall go to your universe. Naruto announced as Vados and Margarita still held onto his hands. Cus had held onto his leg making him chuckle. Roshi was holding himself back from getting a perverted comment seeing this position, but soon everyone else was holding hands around Shin. Kai Kai. Naruto and Shin shouted as they soon vanished in a ray of light. The end. Thank you for watching guys.